Good morning, guys. How are you? Let's start our new lesson. The theme of our lesson, UNESCO. Open the page number 50. Exercise 1A. What do you know about UNESCO? UNESCO, it is an international organization connected to the United Nations. I think it protects historic sites and helps to solve social problems. Write 3 questions about UNESCO. What does UNESCO stand for? When was it set up? Who by? Now listen new words.
Allied. Cultural heritage. Defend. Development. Diversity. Found. Fund. Government. Headquarters. Poverty. Promote peace. Reduce inequalities. Standard of living. Strive. Wipe out.
Exercise 1B. Listen and read the text.
UNESCO. Everyone has the right to an education. During World War II, 1939 to 1945, a number of the Allied governments of European countries met in London to discuss ways of improving education after the war. The idea became very popular and took on a universal aspect. Later, in November 1945, a United Nations conference was held in London to discuss the matter further, and the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization was created. Its mission was to help build peace, wipe out poverty, and help countries to develop and communicate through education, the sciences and culture. Since then, the organization has worked to improve education worldwide, believing that it is the key to social and economic development. Today, the organization has 195 member countries, with its headquarters in Paris. It strives to reduce poverty, promote peace, defend human rights, and celebrate diversity among the people of the world. It focuses on improving the standard of living in Africa and on reducing inequalities between men and women all over the world, but also does a lot of other work, including wildlife conservation and protecting our cultural heritage. So far, UNESCO has improved the lives of millions of people across the planet by providing them with education, as well as promoting freedom of expression, freedom of the press, and access to information. It has founded and funded many humanitarian, scientific, and cultural projects. It has also helped protect a number of historic monuments and natural habitats, including the Acropolis in Athens, Greece, and the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. UNESCO is a great example of how people all over the world can work together to improve the standard of living of all our fellow men and women.
Did it answer your questions? First question. What does UNESCO stand for? United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. When does it set up? 1945. Who by? The United Nations by. Exercise 2. Read again the text and answer the questions. It's your homework. Now, let's watch the video about UNESCO.
UNESCO. Everyone has the right to education. What does the Taj Mahal, the Sydney Opera House, and the Great Wall of China have in common? They're all UNESCO World Heritage Sites. This means that they are important to our history and culture, and their protection and preservation is necessary. This is one of the many projects that UNESCO is involved in. But how much do you know about this organisation? Throughout history, people have always worked hard to find solutions to social problems and protect human rights. During World War II, 1939 to 1945, a number of the Allied governments of European countries met in London. Their goal was to discuss ways of improving education after the war. The result of this was the creation of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, in short, UNESCO. Its mission was to help build peace and security and wipe out poverty. How were they going to do this? They wanted to help countries communicate with one another through education, the sciences, and culture. Since then, the organization has worked hard to improve education worldwide. This is because they believe that it is the key to social and economic development. Today, the organization has more than 190 member countries, and its headquarters are in Paris. It also celebrates cultural differences and tries to promote respect and dialogue between countries. It has taken steps to improve the standard of living in Africa and reduce inequalities between men and women. It does a lot of other work too. For example, it is involved in many wildlife conservation projects. In 2000, it introduced a new project to protect the forests of the Democratic Republic of Congo. These forests are very important to the lives of both animals and people. They make up half of the total area of the African tropical rainforest. Many rare species like the bonobo, an endangered type of chimpanzee, find shelter in this forest. Another one of UNESCO's central goals is protecting our cultural heritage. It has founded and funded a lot of humanitarian, scientific and cultural projects. It has also helped protect a number of historic monuments and natural habitats. Famous examples are the Acropolis in Athens, Greece, and the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Did you know that there are hundreds of UNESCO World Heritage Sites in all the 7 continents of the world? The list is huge, and every year new sites are added to the list. So far, UNESCO has improved the lives of millions of people across the planet by providing them with education. The history of UNESCO shows us how people across countries can work together to make our world a better place.
Exercise 4. It's your homework. Find out more about UNESCO. Visit www.unesco.org. Goodbye. See you in next lesson.